everybody, what's going on?
It's
Monday. Tom's a little bit sick.
I'm feeling like shit, man.
So,
I've been coughing all day.
He doesn't have like a horrible coughing fit in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I should be okay though.
Yeah, I think you'd be okay. Like I said, it's just a movie review, so it's not like we're gonna be on for 5 hours or anything like that.
Yep.
But yeah. So, not sure if anyone's here because no one's commenting, but we're just gonna talk as if somebody is. I can't.
It's the same as recording a review.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, we had no idea what movie we were going to do last night, as we usually do not. We were scrolling through, I think it was Netflix, actually, and they had Red Dragon on there, and Tom's like, ooh, maybe we should do that. I was like, we did that movie already, I'm pretty sure. But then, like, I went and looked back at our back catalog, and I was like, huh, I guess we didn't. Like, we did Silence of the Lambs, for sure. We did Hannibal Rising.
Yeah, good movie.
But we never did this one.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. This was probably about the third time I had seen it.
Yeah, I think I'd seen it once or twice before.
It's held up. It's actually a lot better than I remembered it.
I had just forgotten, because I forgot that they also made Hannibal.
Yeah.
That was the one.
That was good too.
With, what's her name? Because they couldn't get, because Jodie Foster didn't want to do it. And then they got, shit, man. What's that red-haired actress?
I forgot what her name was.
I'll think of it in a minute. But, like, where she played Clarice, and then Hannibal eats the dude's brain.
Yeah.
So that was Hannibal, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we reviewed that one either. I didn't love that one. I think I saw that one in the theater, actually.
I liked it.
It was okay. But I think it's probably, like, my least favorite.
I've never seen, what's the one, Manhunter? Is that
Manhunter.
Manhunter.
And now, interestingly, Manhunter is this movie. This movie, Red Dragon, is the second adaptation of the novel Red Dragon, which was initially made as Manhunter back in 1986. So if you've seen Manhunter, this is pretty much the same story. Both of the adaptations are fairly... we haven't reviewed Manhunter yet either, even though I've been wanting to for a while because I really like that movie. But, you know, maybe now we'll wait a while because, like I said, it's the same story as this. But they kind of have a different take on it. Same cinematographer, though, interestingly, on both movies. Now, I will say that I think this aged really well.
Yeah, it did.
The only thing I don't love about it is that they clearly wanted to up, you know, Hannibal Lecter's role in it. He is in the book. This is actually the book, which came out in 1981, which is called Red Dragon, was the first introduction of the Hannibal Lecter character. And so, but he's kind of a side character, which he is in this movie, but they put him in more scenes because, you know, Hannibal Lecter is such a cultural icon. So they're going to put him in more scenes, and they got Anthony Hopkins, and so they're going to put him in it more. But he's not really the main focus. Like, the main focus is this other serial killer, the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, which doesn't like that name.
The Red Dragon, played by Ralph Fiennes in this.
He was a cool actor, man. He was great in the Bond series as M.
No,
was it M? No.
Yeah.
It was M? Okay.
Wasn't he?
No, I thought Judi Dench was M, wasn't she?
Yeah, but...
he played the second M.
He was the second M.
Yeah, when Judi Dench got killed.
After she got killed, yeah. So, and he's been in a lot of...
He's a cool actor, man. We saw him in that 48 Years Later or whatever. Kind of the Rage Zombie.
28 years later. Yeah, he was great in that too. Yeah, we just reviewed that a couple
weeks ago. He pretty much ran around naked in the whole movie. And he runs around naked in this one too.
And, he's naked in a lot.
When you got a dude that age can run around naked and fucking look pretty good and feel pretty comfortable about it, I'm gonna give you the thumbs up.
We didn't mean to do 2 movies with Ralph Fiennes running around naked for most of the movie. It just kind of happened like that.
Yeah, he's got a good build. He works on it.
He worked out a lot for this movie because the character that he plays, the serial killer Francis Dollarhide, in the novel is described as like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You know, someone with a really good physique because he's kind of like making up for his face looking sort of fucked up.
Yeah, he had a cleft palate.
Even though Ralph Fiennes, obviously, his face.
Yeah, he looked fine though.
They put like a little cleft palate. That was that's still Ralph Fiennes. Okay.
What's his name? Dude that played Joker had that shit. Fucking that motherfucker's hot as shit. All the girls like. What's that dude's name?
Who? Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. That's his name.
Who? What?
The guy that played Joker.
Oh, the guy that played Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, I went old school with it.
Yeah, I think he has that. But it's not real noticeable.
No.
It doesn't matter.
I had a cousin that had that.
Yeah.
It's not. They can fix it. Well, and in the context of this movie, they did fix it.
Yeah.
I think they give more backstory in the novel about, like, I think he got it fixed when he was, like, in the military or something like that. But yeah, Burley says, I liked Red Dragon better than Manhunter. Yeah, it's like, I'm not really sure. Like I said, it's essentially the same story. There's some slight differences. And they kind of approached it from a different direction. I think the endings are slightly different, but not that different. But I was kind of watching a couple different videos of it. I watched a couple videos where they were comparing, like, both movies to the book and, like, the differences and everything. And I watched the Nostalgia Critic one, and he actually ended up kind of liking Red Dragon better. Although he said he really liked Manhunter as well because it kind of had its own take on it. The characters are a lot different, like, as portrayed.
I haven't seen Manhunter, but I've seen all the other Hannibal Lecter movies.
Yeah.
And they're all solid. It's a solid series. The weakest one, some people would say, was Hannibal Rising. And actually, that's my favorite one. So it just depends on what you
I liked Hannibal Rising.
I thought Hannibal Rising was the origin story. And I just really liked how it was shot. And it was kind of like Batman Begins, but serial killer version.
Yeah.
And one thing I was really impressed with that flick is like how accurate, how period accurate all the clothing, the motorcycles, the machines, the tanks, everything. It was like very accurate. It looked really good. The story was good. Kind of like where Hannibal came from and the shit that he went through and what made him become a cannibal and why do you hate people who are rude so much? You know.
I mean, we all hate people.
And why was he cool with people who were polite? If you were polite, he'd like you. You know. And it just shows where all that came from, and it makes sense when you hear when you see his background story. Yeah, Hannibal Lecter's main fucking problem is self-hatred. He went on a fucking killing spree to avenge his little sister's death, who some mercenaries ate her on the Eastern Front. And he found out later that he ate some of her too when he was a little kid, because they fed her to it. So he hates himself for being a cannibal. Then he kind of like turned into a monster. And it doesn't get into that in this movie, but that was already. I think those stories were already written by the time this movie came out. This is just one part of his tale. It's how he got caught.
Well, know? Yeah. Is the volume on that up? Because I keep getting a tinny little talking.
No.
Are you sure? I don't know where I'm hearing that from.
How would the volume be up?
But on there, I keep hearing like something coming from there. Okay.
No.
I don't know where that's coming from then. Maybe it's a TV somewhere. It's on someplace.
It was up. It was like 2 little bars.
Oh, I could hear some kind of tinny little thing coming back at me, and it was like distracting. No, so the timeline of this, and I think that when they first announced that they were going to do Red Dragon, I think a lot of people were kind of like, why do you want to do that? Because one, they already did it with Manhunter, and two, it's like you're making it after Silence of the Lambs, but this actually takes place before Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, this is before they were used to that kind of shit. They do that now like nothing.
Yeah, but it's, I think some people were just kind of like, well, yeah, that's going to be weird though, because Anthony Hopkins is going to look older in this one, even though he's supposed to be younger.
He looks the same age.
But he looks pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
And they did actually kind of, I think in the book, doesn't he get caught in like 1976? And then like it takes place from like 1976 to 1979. The movie Red Dragon actually takes place from like 1980. Like he gets caught in 1980 by Will Graham, and then I think it goes ahead like a year or two.
Well, they're trying to make his age more plausibly denied.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do.
So
it doesn't matter. It won't affect the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story. And fucking Anthony he never phones shit in. He always does a good job, and when he does this character, he really fucking.
This seems like a fun as hell character to play. Honestly,
he's into this character.
I mean, how could you not be?
Yeah.
Like I said, that he always seemed like such a fun character to play. Yeah. But what I was gonna say before was that the only thing this was actually the same screenwriter, Ted Talley, that wrote the screenplay for Silence of the Lambs, who adapted the novel, and I will say that I think there's a little, because they added stuff of Lecter that wasn't in the book. And Thomas Harris, the guy that wrote the book, he was fine with it, and he even gave suggestions and shit like that, so he wasn't averse. But I do think that some of the conversations that he has with Will Graham in Red Dragon are too similar to the ones he had with Clarice in Silence of the Lambs. Like, even some of the same lines are kind of the same, and I kind of wish they hadn't done that. but it was just, it wasn't really that big of a deal. But I mean, it's the same setup, essentially. It's just kind of like you're using a serial killer to find another serial killer, you know what I mean? Because you're, like, tapping into their brain or whatever. So, it can't be that dissimilar because it's the same story. But I don't know. I liked, I don't know. I really liked everybody in this. I thought it was, like, a really good...
It's an all-star cast, man.
Yeah, it's like, man...
Harvey Keitel's in it.
Harvey Keitel plays Jack Crawford,
yeah,
who was played by Scott Glenn in Silence of the Lambs. But it's the same character. And that same guy that played Dr. Chilton in Silence of the Lambs, that smarmy asshole.
Same dude who played Barney.
Same guy that played Barney.
Yep.
They got that dude back. So, some of the same... But I really like... And I love Scott Glenn in Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. And I probably have it memorized. I've seen it so many times. But I really like Harvey Keitel's take on that character. A little
more hard-boiled.
Yeah, like he definitely comes across a little bit more like that. When I was watching, this was kind of interesting. I saw this. I can't remember what her channel was called. I think she does like a lot of Stephen King and stuff. But she was talking about the differences between the book and the 2 movie adaptations. And she said that one thing that she didn't like as much about Red Dragon was that because they had put so much more of Hannibal Lecter in Red Dragon, just because the Anthony Hopkins doing that character was so popular, that she's like, Will Graham, who's played by Edward Norton in Red Dragon, is not, like, doesn't seem quite as cool or as capable, because in the book, like, he comes up with a lot of this shit by himself, whereas in Red Dragon, he gets ideas from Lecter all the time. You know what I mean? So she's kind of offloading a lot of his cool shit, because the whole thing about Will Graham, and they do address this in Red Dragon, is that he has this thing. It's not psychic powers or nothing like that. It's just that he's really good
strategic empathy
at inserting himself into the mind of, like, someone that's reprehensible. Interestingly, in Manhunter, the character, and in the book also, the character is a lot darker. Like, he's a lot more morally gray. So it's a lot more understandable that it's like, he'd be able to think like a serial killer. Whereas in this adaptation, he still seems like a pretty stable dude. Even though he supposedly has this...
Well, you have to be morally gray to empathize with somebody who's
right,
like
exactly.
That. How do you fantasize, and how do you have a fantasy where you're placing yourself in that dude's shoes, and what's getting you off?
Yeah.
If you're like that. That's what... We call it strategic empathy.
Yeah.
In the army and stuff. Just trying to figure out how the enemy thinks. If you can't figure out how your enemy thinks, you'll never beat him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good talent to have, but I can see how it would kind of fuck with your mind.
Yeah.
Which, in the novel Red Dragon, and I think they focused a little bit more on it in Manhunter, it kind of fucks with the dude's mind. Like, he's, like, I can't remember the, I can't remember the name of the actor that plays him in Manhunter, but, plays Will Graham. I can see his face, and I can't think of his name. But, he was a lot more kind of unhinged. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that it was really fucking with him. But in this, like, he seems a lot more stable, like I said. And he's a lot more, like, no nonsense, I feel like.
Dominic asked us, she said she loved us and wanted to know if we have a TikTok. No, we don't have a TikTok.
No, one of these days I'll get around to it.
We have this, and we have a Instagram.
Yeah, we got Instagram. Yeah. But that's about it. What I keep saying, it's like, oh, I should probably get on TikTok, but, by the time I get around to it...
You wouldn't know what to do with TikTok.
If by the time I get around to it, there'll be some other social media that's like all of a sudden that I have to do that one.
Klaus and Tanya are here. What's up, babe? What's up, Klaus?
Klaus says he's not drunk, but I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing. So yeah, so the whole so the whole story of Red Dragon, in case you didn't know, was... I like the beginning. The beginning is set in 1980. Like I said, I think in the book it takes place in 1976, but it doesn't really matter. Will Graham is an FBI profiler, and he has been working with Hannibal Lecter to solve this serial killer case. Ironically, it's the serial killer case that Hannibal Lecter himself is the killer. That's kind of, you know what I mean? So that's kind of... I wonder if that's ever happened in real life. Where it's like, we're going to consult this forensic psychiatrist or expert, like, on serial killers to see the serial killers that turn out he's a serial killer.
No, it never happened.
No.
I saw a thing about that.
Yeah, it never would. But that's not exactly how it works in the book either. But, you know, they just changed it a little bit for the movie so they could kind of get them working together. And the kind of cold open is that Will Graham is, like, in, you know, the dude's house. I didn't realize this. But you know the very, very first scene where there's, like, an orchestra or, like, symphony, like, playing on the stage, and Lecter is there watching it, and there's the dude there that's playing the flute, and he's kind of fucking everything up, and you can just tell that he's just, like, internally cringing, like, oh my god, I'm gonna eat this motherfucker. And then I did not realize this, but that guy, the flute player who they said, like, disappeared, he was Benjamin Raspail, the guy they mentioned in Silence of the Lambs.
All right, okay.
Wasn't that his head in the jar?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's who that was. And I was like, oh, duh, I didn't make that fucking connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's who that was. So there's that. So it comes to pass where Will is like, you know, this person that's killing all these people, he's taking very specific body parts. And it's like, you know, usually serial killers, they take body parts for trophies and stuff. He's like, I don't think he's doing that, though. I think he's cooking with them. Because it's like the stuff that they take is always, like, you know, used in cooking. And then he says to Lecter, he's like, I wonder why, you're such a genius, like, why didn't you think of that? Like, he didn't say it like that, but that's kind of what he means. And, you know, you can see Lecter being like, gee, I don't know. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, you know what I mean? And shit like that. But then it finds out, like, while Will is kind of, like, looking through his stuff or one of his books or whatever, he sees a thing with, like, some recipes with sweetbreads and stuff, and he's just like, oh, well, that explains a lot. Like, this motherfucker is the killer. So he gets stabbed, but then he also stabs Lecter with some arrows or some shit. So they stab each other, and
Lecter was impressed that he got some shots.
I know, I loved his face.
Yeah.
The coolest thing, like, I think he's so great as Lecter. Like I said, it's not quite as good as Silence of the Lambs, where it's just like he just said whole, like, paragraphs, like, just with tiny little facial expressions, but it's similar. And, like, when that one scene where Will turns around and stabs him with those arrows, the medieval arrows he had or whatever, and you could see on his face he's just kind of like, oh, well played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Lecter believed in fairness.
Yeah.
And politeness.
I thought that was so funny.
I like the Lecter character. It's an interesting character. He's basically Dracula. He's comes from a aristocratic European family. Who fucking who lost everything, and then ended up in, like, a boys' home, and had to deal with all these abuses of having very high status to going down to very low status, and he fights his way out of a damn orphanage, and ends up with his aunt, who's his uncle's dead, but he's living with his aunt, and she's Japanese in France. And they become lovers, and she kind of raises him as a samurai. Really, he picks up samurai stuff from her. And he kind of becomes the Punisher at first. But then he goes insane and becomes fucking a very perverted version of the Punisher, basically. He's kind of like a vigilante. But it's very extreme. If you're rude to him or rude to somebody he likes, he'll kill you and eat you. Yeah, and that's
really
what he does.
Him, honestly.
He calls them the free range rude.
Yeah.
And he's he loves food. He's a foodie. He's into classical music, real high class shit. He goes to all these, like, you know, high class events, and he's into all that shit, the arts and entertainment, you know.
Well, and I love at the beginning of this movie that when he kills that terrible flute player, like, then he feeds it to all the other people on the symphony board, like, without telling them what it is.
That's the interesting thing about the Lecter character versus real serial killers. Real serial killers never really rise to any level in society. They don't really have the talent. They're overcompensating for being underachievers.
Yeah.
Lecter is not pretending to be a rich aristocrat. He was an aristocrat, just that it was taken from him. But he feels that that's his rightful place. And he kind of has a god complex, you know. He lords over people, you know, basically what he's doing. and he was very intelligent. But serial killers like that don't actually exist. The closest thing would probably be, what's his name? The guy who was not Jeffrey Dahmer. What's the other guy? The guy with fucking shit. He actually was kind of good looking. He was in the Republican Party.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. But Ted Bundy was an underachiever. He went to college.
And he wasn't that smart.
And he wasn't that smart. And he was. But
he really wasn't as smart.
Yeah, but that was the best one. That was the closest one to Hannibal.
To ones that you see in movies.
Yeah.
But I think that's why people like this character so much, is that, yeah, he's a serial killer, but he's also, like, he also has such a fantasy element to him that you can almost kind of, like, appreciate what he's doing, like, without feeling bad about it, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, most serial killers are kind of scumbags. Well, all serial killers are scumbags. But I mean, most of them, like you said, are not like this. Like, you wouldn't be able
Only a few of them had families and kind of normal lives.
It was kind of unusual.
But they were never like a high-class type person or like a genius or anything. They were just...
Yeah, they were mostly just average, regular at best.
Kind of like BTK. He was just kind of an average guy.
Yeah, just like a middle class.
Yeah, he tried to be a cop. He couldn't make it as a cop, but he can make it as a dog catcher and a compliance officer. Make sure your grass was cut. But that was about all. That was as high as he could go.
Yeah.
So, but this whole thing about becoming a psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever,
and being like not only that, but being like at the top of your field.
Serial killers can't do that. If you can do that, you won't be a serial killer.
Then you wouldn't have any reason to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to overcompensate.
Right, exactly.
They're overcompensating for inadequacies.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. But like I said, that's kind of what makes this character so interesting, is that he has that fantasy element.
In this one, the Red Dragon, that particular serial killer, that's what he's doing. He's overcompensating for inadequacies.
Yeah,
but they're mostly just perceived inadequacies. There's nothing really wrong with him. It's just that he was raised fucked up, and he,
yeah,
didn't have a very good self-image. And
interestingly, I think Red Dragon, it's been a long time since I've seen Manhunter. But I do kind of feel like Francis Dollarhide in Manhunter was still a really compelling character, but I think he was slightly less sympathetic. Like, he's still not super sympathetic because he's a serial killer and he does really fucked up shit. But I think the way Ralph Fiennes plays him in Red Dragon, you kind of almost feel bad for him. Because they kind of go into, and the book goes a lot into his upbringing, like his grandma was... super abusive and threatened to cut his dick off and all this
threatened to cut his dick off or wetting the bed.
There was more shit in the book,
yeah,
about his mom and all this other kind of stuff, but so he had like a really abusive childhood, and he had a cleft palate that was much worse when he was born, so he got made fun of for being ugly, and so he got like a complex about it, and he got to a point where he would, like, wear a mask all the time because he didn't want to look at his own face, and he was, like, smashing all the mirrors in his house because he didn't want to look at himself. And then that's when he started getting into bodybuilding, and then also into the idea of, like, transforming into something, like, more than human.
Yeah, he wanted to become his dragon.
Yeah.
The godlike being.
Based on the William Blake painting.
Now, they said that he might have had military training. Did he actually... have military training? They just
in the book he did, yeah.
Because he's trying to transform.
Because that's when he got like his lip fixed and everything like that. Like when he was in the military. I don't think they mentioned that in the movie, but that is in the book.
He's trying to transform by way of power, just
by
raw
killing
physical
people.
Power. Yeah,
by killing people.
Yeah, and he does some trippy shit. Kind of, you know what I mean? Fucking has a guy glued to a wheelchair, showing him a film, and trying to explain to him who he was. You lied about me in the newspaper. He was a newspaper reporter.
Yeah,
he was a pretty cool scene.
He was pretty scumbag. Yeah,
it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I liked it.
But yeah, the whole thing that the Tooth Fairy, quote unquote, / Red Dragon is doing is he targets families, but he mostly targets. I don't know if they mentioned this in the movie. I think they kind of subtly allude to it. But he targets these families primarily because the women, because of the women. And so then he gets in there and he kills the whole family, in front of her, and then he breaks all the mirrors, and then he puts pieces in the mirrors in their eyes so that he can see himself reflected while he rapes the wife. But I don't think they mentioned in the movie that he didn't rape the women until after they were dead.
Right.
Like he was a necrophile. Because I think in the book, they make it pretty clear that the woman that he starts a little relationship with, that his coworker, was the first living woman that he'd ever had sex with. Yeah. I think that's how they phrase it in the book. I don't remember if they mentioned that in the movie.
Which was more performance anxiety.
Yeah, like he wanted them watching him, but he also didn't want her to be alive, I guess. So...
Well, like I said, we talked about it before when we talked about real serial killers. It's a performance anxiety thing. They want to have sex, but they don't want the woman there.
Right.
They don't want her. They don't want her judging him.
Right.
So he's looking for a sex doll.
Yeah, which I don't know why
used to be a person.
Why they don't just get one of those.
The power thing.
Yeah.
They want it to be a real person. And then you can't read into it too much because some of the dudes are just fucking dumb.
Well, yeah.
Some of them are just fucking dumb. They don't really see it as that much important. It's just sex to them, and it's too much of a hassle when she's alive. You know, because they fight too much.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like
imagine that.
Yeah, they just fight too much. So you want them to not moving and not resistant, so they just kill them.
Yeah. But yeah, so this guy seemed to have a whole fantasy world like worked out.
Yeah.
Where he wanted to have sex with women, but after they were dead. And then he wanted their family, like, watching them. But they were also dead.
Similar to BTK when you think about it.
Kinda. It is sort of similar.
Because he was doing necro shit.
Yeah.
Every little girl he hanged, and he was probably having sex with them when he was taking pictures of them.
I would imagine so, yeah.
He just probably didn't admit to that. I guarantee you. You don't take a dead body to the church and dress it up and take pictures of it. Unless you're getting off on that.
Well, yeah.
If you're getting off on that, you're going to have sex with that body. That's I don't think he said that, but I was immediately like, man, you're having sex with that dead body.
Yeah. Well, that's what's so weird. It's like, you're a serial killer, but it's like they won't admit...
They won't admit to that.
To necrophilia, and they won't admit to...
Pedophilia.
To pedo shit either.
Well, they won't all the time. He did sometimes.
Yeah.
But...
they're real reluctant to talk about that.
Yeah. But why else would you carry around a body?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see.
And dress it up, take photos, do a photo shoot with it.
Yeah.
Because you like it. So, yeah, it's free. That's what what's his name said?
Yeah, I know.
Gary Ridgway.
Yeah.
They said, dude, you kept going back to that dead body. It was there for weeks. He says, why'd you keep going back to it? He goes, because it was free.
Yeah.
You know, and they did that. They knew what time of year he had killed those women and how long he had been going back to those women during summertime. Those bodies would have been rotten, and he was having sex with them. And they said, when you get all dirty, he goes, yeah, I just jumped in the water because it was on the riverside.
Dude, it's gross.
Nasty.
And he had a wife at home.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you smell like dead bodies?
It wouldn't surprise me if she had shut him off, though.
Well, can you blame her?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that was a very exciting marriage or anything.
Yikes.
I think it was just like window dressing to make him feel like he was normal.
To like a normal person.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that...
Because I have a hard time thinking, any serial killers that have like families and shit,
BTK Dennis was
he seemed pretty normal. Like, yeah, he was one of the ones that like everybody said we had no fucking idea. Like he just seemed like a totally regular dude.
He was high functioning.
Yeah, because I think most of them honestly are like Francis Dollarhide in this movie.
Yeah,
where they're real kind of creepy and you know, and shit like that.
They can't function too well.
And can't really function. Like, he had it, like, in the movie, he had a job. Yeah. Like, he was like a, you know, photo technician or video technician or whatever. But he was real socially awkward. And, you know, kind of a loner and kind of a weirdo and shit like that.
Here's the thing that weirds me out, though. For the FBI to classify you as a serial killer, they have to know that you killed 3. Then you become a serial killer. That's how they classify you. I fucking got a weird feeling that most of these dudes that do this do 1 or 2. And they didn't like it, so they stop. And they develop out of it and never get caught.
It might be why there's so many unsolved.
I think there's a lot of unsolved murders because I think most of them killed 1 and go, that wasn't worth it. I didn't really like that. and then they don't do it again.
Would have been better if they had stopped at 0 times.
Well, they're probably young.
Yeah.
They're probably young when they do it, late teens, and they grow out of it. So then they fucking spend the rest of their life just going, "Oh man, I'm fucking having that shit hanging over your fucking head." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why would you want to spend your whole fucking life just worrying about that?
I think they're teenagers when they do it, so they can't think beyond. You know what I mean? They can't think beyond the immediate.
Yeah, I guess.
Dig, you know?
It's like, well, I just want to do this right now, so I'm just going to do this. And they're like, oh, why did I do that? I fucked up. Now you got to live with that your whole fucking life.
Yeah, now you're looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And it probably doesn't happen as much anymore because DNA, people know about DNA. But a lot of the ones that dudes were doing it in the 70s and 80s, they got caught because of DNA.
Yeah.
Like they never would have found fucking old, what's his name, original's Night Stalker. What was the original Night Stalker?
Joseph
D'Angelo, yeah. Because one of his relatives had their DNA done, and they went, oh, okay, it's this guy. It's like a cousin.
Found you.
Yeah, we found you, bitch. He got away with it. He killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, he was an old man when they.
It was an old cop.
Yeah.
With a bunch of military training. He was another one that was very high functioning. He got away with it basically. He's in custody now, but it was at the end of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he was an old man. He stopped. I mean, I'm glad they finally got him. You can't just let him run around loose just because they're old.
Tarnished his fucking reputation. But he's probably dead by now anyway, isn't he? Or near?
No, he's still alive.
Okay.
I think, as far as I know.
He's in a wheelchair. Last I saw him. That was 7 years ago.
Burley says Philip Seymour Hoffman was great in Red Dragon. He's great in everything. R.I.P. But yeah, he's really good playing kind of scuzzy weirdos. Like, you know what I mean? Like he played like a real kind of scummy character in this. He was the reporter. Yeah. He was also good in what do you call it?
Yeah, he was in a bunch of movies.
Yeah, he's been in a million things. He died sadly, but yeah, not too long ago. But he was in Boogie Nights too. Like he was fucking great in that. And he was in The Master. He played like L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, that was his magnus opum, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Magnum opus.
Magnum opus. Yeah, it's Magnus opum.
Magnus opum. Yeah.
I'm going to say it like that.
Yeah, it's much better.
I like that.
That's the redneck version.
That's the redneck version.
Yeah. I want to see that movie again.
What, Boogie Nights?
No. The Master.
Oh, The Master?
Yeah.
It's probably on streaming somewhere.
Yeah.
I really, everybody's saying, like, what's with our like button? And everybody says, ooh, I like the scary button. I can't see it. So
we can't see it, yeah.
I can't see it, so I don't know what it looks like. And I don't
see a like button.
I didn't do anything, so...
I don't even see a like button.
YouTube's just doing weird shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, and Burley says there's lots of themed like buttons now. Okay.
Oh, I can't see it because I'm a manager.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, so I guess I have to look at it from another account, perhaps. Somebody could describe it. That'd be cool, but it's like I can't really see it. Count Orlock says deleted scenes had Frank Langella as the voice of the dragon in Dollarhide's head. Is it in Manhunter or in this one? Because I couldn't really tell whose voice, because I think they had like in the book, wasn't it more like he considered, and I guess they kind of addressed this a little bit in the movie, but didn't he start to see the dragon as like a separate entity?
Yeah.
Because even toward the end, he was saying like, I won't let her, he didn't want to let him have, the girl the woman that he was dating.
Yeah, it was his alter ego.
Yeah, but he was trying to become that.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe they were having like voices talk. I think the only voiceovers they had in this one was like when he was a kid, like when he was remembering stuff when he was a kid, like him as a kid and his grandmother like fucking abusing him and all this other kind of shit.
Mango Badger said that Lecter was kind of like a higher order of serial killer.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter was a reboot of Dracula, basically.
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
It's Dracula. It's an aristocratic killer who eats you or drinks your blood. And he's kind of wiser, smarter, higher class than you. This is his rightful place, is to be an aristocrat and you're his food. That's Dracula.
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Essentially, he is like Dracula. Just like a real life, non-supernatural version. Which, yeah, that's a good... Like, like I said, Camp Guy said John Lisk did his own mother, wife, and 3 kids, and then he just left and assumed a new name in Colorado. Lived over 18 years before they caught him. Yeah, I think we did. Didn't we do a show about that motherfucker?
I think so, yeah. They had some family annihilators that would go and wipe out the whole families. They'd find them up in the house, and they'd fucking all his wives and all his kids dead, and that dude would be gone for 30 years, and they'd eventually find him. He'd be an old man with a new identity. Why'd you do it? Well, I lost my job.
Okay. What was step 2 though? Like what? How'd you get from I lost my job to I'm just gonna murder my whole family? Like what was the step in between there?
What they is that they first of all they were very old school, staunch upbringing.
Well, yeah.
Where you're supposed to be the patriarch and take care of your family.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the provider.
And you're supposed to provide and everything. You're supposed to be the leader and everything. And if your leadership fails, the family now knows that you failed. And you can't accept failure. You can't accept failure in front of. You can't accept that failure, so you have to abort the family and start over. Wild shit.
That is wild. Like I said, I can see intellectually how they get to that point. Yeah, and that's just crazy to me.
And then they're like, well, they were so dependent on. The thinking is they're so dependent on me. If I can't raise them right, then they're going to be fucked up. You know what I mean? And we can't have that. They got to be raised right, and they all have to be, by the book. It's one of those type of deals. Because it's a reflection on him and his abilities. So it's more like shame.
Yeah.
I can't be a family man. I've failed. Can't let them know about it.
Well, I feel like that's the same type of dude that essentially they don't even really see. They just see their family as like an extension of themselves. They don't really see them as like people.
Oh, you got to be a psychopath to do that.
Yeah.
And almost a low functioning, a low order psychopath.
Because like those are also people.
That
that could help you out, or y'all could work something out, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people lose jobs all the time. Like calm down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's always going to be some flimsy motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
A dude with a real thin fucking thin veil of sanity, very narrow. Everything has to be a certain way. If it diverges outside that, then it's a failure. It's got to be this way. If not, then it's fucked up. You're one of those kind of guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we've all known some people.
There's people like
that are like real rigid.
Real rigid, yeah. And it's not a strength.
No, it's really not. Well, I can't really think of any
number one thing
where that would be good.
Humans are animals, okay? And with the animals that are selected for survival are always, they're not the smartest, they're not even the strongest, they're the most adaptable.
Yep.
And
that's the main
thing.
That's the best thing to be.
So you might have these dudes that are pretty smart. They might even be physically strong, but they're not adaptable. So the situation changes, and
they just glitch out.
Yeah, he can't adapt,
which is not good.
So he kills his family, which is effectively taking yourself out of the gene pool, because now your descendants don't exist. There's no more you.
Yeah,
you didn't pass down genes to the next generation.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camp Guy said he was both a financial failure and a high-end religious nut. He said he was killing them to save them from eternal damnation.
Yeah. There's all kinds of crazy shit like it.
Yeah, and he also said he got fired from his job, but he got up and acted like he was going to work every morning for a good amount of time before he did them in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's a dude who was very shame-driven.
Yeah.
Where his shame, he got to hide from his family that he doesn't have a job. Well, some dudes...
Not even just their family. I think just society at large. Like, he thinks they're going to see him as, like,
boomers and greatest generation, one of the things I noticed about them fucking when I was a kid is that a lot of the dudes defined their personalities based on what they did for a living in their jobs.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a job, or if your job wasn't it, then you were shit.
That's why a lot of them died a couple years after, like, retiring.
They retired and died.
They didn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, they retire and they would die. Because their whole purpose was to have a job. Which, that's kind of a weird way of thinking about it.
It is weird.
Because jobs are temporary, they come and go.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of a civilization. A civilization is always in flux. You can't depend on civilizations.
Well, and you don't want that to define your whole entire life. I mean,
yeah.
Like, don't you have like other interests or other things you want to do? Or
I work at the grocery store. That's what I do. I'm the grocery store dude. Get the fuck out of
here. I'm the grocery store dude.
You're the grocery store man. Okay.
I'm the dude that tells you to cut your grass when it gets too long.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm exactly. BTK. But yeah, so
thinking very much in hierarchy. and status oriented.
Yeah, like I said, I know that's
all that shit's fake.
That's not fun for anybody.
It's all fake and temporary.
Yeah.
You got to be flexible, bitches.
Yeah, that's like I said. I think that's really the best. The best thing.
Adaptable.
Have. Yeah, big time. Mango says, interestingly, ultimately, Red Dragon was a cash grab. Now, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I definitely think it was a cash grab.
It was a successful movie, though.
But it was very successful.
And it was the movie has aged well.
And it did get mostly good reviews when it came out. There were a couple pretty scathing ones, but most of the critics thought it was pretty good. They said, well, it's not as good as Silence of the Lambs, but very few movies are as good as Silence of the Lambs. I mean, Silence of the Lambs is one of the most perfect movies ever made.
I can kind of compare the Hannibal Lecter series, which was kind of hodgepodge because different people making it, but it still kind of fits together. I kind of compare that a little bit to the Psycho series, which they're all good. All the Psycho movies were good. They kind of got better. But remember, Psycho 4 was fucking good.
Yeah, I really like Psycho 4. Yeah. That was the prequel.
Yeah.
With Henry
And
Thomas.
then Psycho 3.
Yeah, they were all definitely always watching.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't think. But...
Anthony Perkins was fucking involved in a lot of that. That was his fucking main character. Was, what's his name? And then, so similar to that. But, no, I could easily stand by this movie. This is a good movie.
Yeah, it's actually better than I remembered it. I think out of all, I mean, like I said, yeah, it wasn't as good as Silence of the Lambs, and you could tell that they made it again, because, like I said, it had been made before as Manhunter, but they made it again because the Hannibal Lecter character was so popular and was, like, a cultural icon at this point, so it's like, so we have to put him in the movie more. Hannibal had come out. Did Hannibal come out before this or after
this?
I think.
Before. I think it was before.
I think I have that written down.
I put this there with Hannibal and Hannibal.
Yeah, Hannibal came out a year before this.
Before, yeah.
But this took place before that.
Yeah.
So the timeline's all.
But no, I put them all right about there. With the best one being Silence of the Lambs.
I like this one better than Hannibal.
I liked Hannibal, though, too.
Hannibal was pretty good. Yeah. I think it's probably my least favorite of these ones.
I don't know, a lot of cool shit has in it.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that it's out of all of them, it's probably my least favorite.
I think it was Mango Badger said that the most accurate one to the book was fucking Hannibal Rising. And actually, that's my favorite one is Hannibal Rising. I know Silence of the Lambs. That's the one that everybody goes to. Yeah, that is a fucking classic.
It's a masterpiece. I love that fucking movie.
But I still like Hannibal Rising better. It's kind of like the Batman Begins of serial killer movies.
Yeah.
I fucking liked it. And I just really liked the it's a period piece, and the clothing and the settings and the motorcycles and the guns and the tanks and everything they show is just very accurate to the time period. I liked the movie. Thought it was cool. And for some reason that one didn't resonate with a lot of people, but I loved that one.
I mean, I think they were all fairly successful. Even if they didn't quite meet up to expectations. This movie made, like, over $200 million. This one did. So, obviously they were doing something right. Like I said, I can see what Mango's talking about, because I did notice that some of the scenes and some of the lines even were very similar to stuff that was in Silence of the Lambs, and some of that stuff was added, and it wasn't in the book. I'm not saying that it's, like, not that faithful to the book, because it is, but they did add more stuff with Hannibal Lecter in the movie that wasn't in the book, although Hannibal Lecter does help him with it. This was actually, like I said, this first appearance, the novel, which I think came out in 1981, but it's like everybody wanted more Hannibal, so and then they went on and made the series, which I still haven't seen. Everybody's telling me, I think somebody's even said in the comments to watch the series Hannibal, and it's like, I'll get around to it one of these days, I swear.
Yeah, with Mad Madsen.
Yeah.
I saw a couple episodes. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it looked really good, and like a lot of people have recommended it to me.
Yeah. No,
Mango says Psycho 3 is a cracking movie, and Perkins directed it. Yes, that's right.
They were all good.
I liked all of these. We have the whole set, like it came like in a box set, like all four of them. I think we reviewed them all, like in one big mega review.
What else did he say? He said that Meg also said that Hannibal was shit. That fucked up the book. Well, I never read the book. I'm just going by the movie.
But it was so long ago.
I'm just going by the movie itself. It was a passable movie. I liked a lot of the shit that happened. To cut that dude's head off, to cut the top of his brain. Oh, you know, like
that was that.
There was a bunch of weird
that
shit.
scene made me laugh my ass off.
Yeah, there was a bunch.
I'm not sure if that was the intention.
Yeah, a bunch of fucked up shit happened into it.
I mean, some parts of it are like almost like a black comedy.
Yeah. I don't know. When he cut that that dude's skull off of there and started fucking serving it to him, no, I didn't think anything funny about that. I was pretty creeped out. I was like, oh.
Okay, I guess I'm pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I thought that was
hilarious. Still, just
the whole situation. This was like,
I was
so
just thinking in terms of integrity into a fully encapsulated movie, like a one-shot deal. You just watch it. Hannibal Rising. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, Burley says I love the series. Everybody I've talked to loves the Hannibal series, so I probably should get around to it. Although David Brown says the series is awful. They made Hannibal into a James Bond villain. Okay, so two different opinions there. Zach says, well, hi, Zach. Didn't even see you. It's still weird to me everyone calls Silence of the Lambs a horror movie when it's basically a thriller. It is technically a thriller. I would argue it kind of shades over into horror, though. I mean, it's, if 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I think, like, when I did my history of horror video, I think I did classify it as a horror movie, because there were a lot of them that came out. I guess I would also, I don't know, would I classify Seven, for example, as a horror movie? I guess. But it's kind of a gray area. I mean, really, what's the difference? A thriller, I guess, is, just something that's no supernatural elements, generally. Usually like a crime procedural kind of thing about murders or whatever. But there's horror movies like that, too. So I don't know. I've always kind of considered Silence of the Lambs a horror thriller.
Silence of the Lambs came out at a time, where a lot of other movies copied it. Seven was one of them. There was a lot of, like, thriller, police, procedural type things that was happening. There was a bunch of those that came out. They're pretty good. But, the only one that really stuck was probably the Silence of the Lambs. That series, they made more of them. The other ones, they were kind of just one-offs.
Man, me and my mom went to see Silence of the Lambs in the theater when it came out in 1991. And I remember, so I'm watching it, and I remember, like, about halfway through the movie, I had to pee so bad, you guys, like, you don't even know. And I didn't want to leave. Because I was like, I don't want to miss anything. So I just held it, like, the whole time. And I still remember that, like, from 1991, that I was like, no, I can't leave. This is, like, it's so good. And I've seen it, like, so many times since then. I probably have the whole movie memorized at this point. Which, like I said, I think that's kind of why watching Red Dragon, it was a little bit jarring, because some of the lines in it are like, really similar to lines that were in Silence of the Lambs, which I remember, like, I just saw it yesterday. So I was like, okay, well, they could have changed that up a little bit. I did kind of like the little thing at the end where, Chilton comes in and says, hey, there's this woman from the FBI, like, to come see you, and all this other kind of stuff. So they're setting it up for, like, Clarice to come in.
Now they're in there comparing things to Long Legs and stuff. Really, the only thing that was, like, recently that was, like, along the lines of, like, I don't know, Silence of the Lambs or Seven, that I really enjoyed, that I thought would stick, would be Mandy.
Yeah, well, that's nothing like Silence of the Lambs.
No, nothing like that. It's like a thriller slash horror with all kinds of, and an acid trip. And
I don't know what the fuck kind of movie
I don't know what
is.
it was, man. But it was very original and fun to watch. I like that movie. I want to see that one again. I have it. I bought that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even bought you like a silk poster from it. That's framed
that.
in the room. Yeah, counter Long Legs. When I saw Long Legs, you could tell that they were homaging Silence of the Lambs big time. But it's not exactly like Silence of the Lambs, but they were trying to get that vibe.
Yeah.
And I think he largely succeeded. I kind of want to see that again, because we only saw it one time. I saw it in the theater. And I don't know. I picked it as one of my favorite movies from last year, which it was, but it's like I still want to watch it again because I feel like I missed a lot. Zach says, here's a hilarious casting what if. At one point, they wanted Meg Ryan, of all people, to play Clarice. look, I like Meg Ryan as much as the next girl, but I don't think that would have worked.
It could have, because they were trying to look for somebody who's real innocent and all-American. That's what they're trying to do.
But the great thing about Jodie Foster is that she has that innocence, but she also has this, like, innate kind of, like, toughness to her. Like, you believed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, you believed that she was, like, a rookie and that she was new to all this and it was upsetting her, but you also believed that she was gonna fucking get through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if Meg Ryan could have brought that. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I really find it hard. That's why when I went to see Hannibal, like, as much as somebody said Julianne Moore. Thank you. That was her name. She was also in Boogie Nights, weirdly. Who played Clarice in Hannibal? She was great in that, but she's not Jodie Foster. Like, I had just so associated that character with Jodie Foster. And just, like, the interactions between her and Anthony Hopkins were just so fucking good. Just, like I said, they didn't even have to talk.
Yeah.
Like, you could just see the shit, like, in their little facial expressions and shit like that. Like, so much of that was good. And, you know, they both got Oscars, and well-deserved. So, it was just not... So, the subsequent movies, it wasn't that lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? That was their interactions, which was, like, such the best part of that movie. So, you know, no shade on any of the other actors that play any of those characters, but those two squaring off was just magical. And you couldn't really replicate that.
Everybody's bragging that they got the hand for Christmas. Oh, yeah. The hand is a must. You got to have the hand. Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Excellent movie. Epic.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody got that. Oh, they also wanted Michelle Pfeiffer at one point. That might have worked. That might have worked. Because Michelle Pfeiffer also kind of has that quality. I think when I think of Meg Ryan, I usually think of, like, romantic comedies. Or, like, funny, because she's kind of funny. So she's usually, like, in
Wasn't
comedy.
that her in Cherry 2000?
No, that's Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith, yeah, that's right.
But Michelle Pfeiffer has a little more
Meg
grit
Ryan.
To her.
I'm trying to remember who
she was in When Harry Met Sally. She was in, she's been in a million things. You've Got Mail. Like I said, she was in a lot of those kind of romantic comedies. And so I don't know if that would have worked, because I kind of feel like you need somebody, like, a little bit more serious. Michelle Pfeiffer could have worked. I could see that working. Because, like I said, she has a little more seriousness, a little more grit to her. But I'm not really sure if Meg Ryan would have worked. I think she's too cutesy or too funny, or I don't know, something. I don't know if it would have worked. Why didn't Foster do Hannibal? I think they asked her and she just said no. She didn't want to revisit the character, which, you know, fair enough. She didn't really want to do it. So they got Julianne Moore instead. Now, Zach says, I think Julianne Moore was also considered for Clarice originally, too. So I guess they just went back to their original
weird about
choice.
Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster was always kind of reclusive, and she didn't really seem to have to work a lot. She wasn't like somebody that had to constantly be working.
Well, I mean, she's in a lot of stuff.
I think she fucking managed her money better than a lot of
I think she always seemed like she had a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah, I think she managed her
like
money
she didn't. She never seemed to, like, do anything stupid, or
she never had to do anything out of desperation. Like, okay, I guess I have to make this movie.
Yeah, I got to be in this, like, shitbag movie. Like,
so I think she handled her bills a lot better.
Yeah, like I said, she always seemed like a lot more sensible, and, like, more stable than some other actors.
Yeah, she probably wasn't fucking spending money like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, so she probably just saved it all, and so she could just do movies that she wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always liked her. I thought she's pretty good in everything I've seen, honestly. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap it up for this evening. What are you doing back there?
She's going through the wrapping paper.
Oh, okay. Oh, I left the Christmas wrapping paper out. Pookie's like, ooh, look at this.
Yeah, I'll take a shower.
David Brown said Foster hated the Hannibal novel, which is why she did not do the movie. Yeah, I didn't love the novel that much either. I read it, but it was a long time ago. It was a little over the top for my taste, a little bit. Like I said, the Silence of the Lambs has some over the top shit in it, but not. It's all still pretty believable. And I feel like shit got crazier and crazier, like, as time went on. And I was just kind of like, I'm not really buying it anymore. But you know what I mean? All right. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up for this evening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this discussion. So for Wednesday night's show, the overwhelming winner in the poll, I guess you guys didn't want to do true crime for New Year's Eve, which is fair enough. So we're going to do a show about true predictions made by The Simpsons, in case... Because as long as The Simpsons have been on, famously, they have made a lot of predictions about things or things that were in the show and then like later happened in real life. So I think maybe Zach recommended that a long time ago as a topic. So that's what we're going to do. So that should be like a fun show for New Year's Eve. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. But yeah, have a good rest of your evening, you guys. Have a good day tomorrow. And we will see you guys again for the show on Wednesday night.